What's up, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to Get the Mic, the only show where your host on the left, Owl,
And your host on the right, Brock.
dissect fiction for its mythological significance. In this episode, we're talking about Dragon Ball, episode 47, which is called Kame House Found, or in the Japanese, it is called General Blue Begins Attacking, though I think the former name actually suits it better than the original translation. I think we do have a little bit of housekeeping to get forward with. If you like our work, please subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. Give us a like on this video if you like what you hear. We upload on YouTube Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We also upload on BitChute and Rumble Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So give us a subscribe there if you're watching there. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Either way, give us a subscribe wherever you gungle.
Rumble the Vumble.
Precisely. Anything else to add, Brock, before we get into the episode?
No, let's just get into it.
All right. So, last time we saw, last time we saw Goku try to dive down and get the Dragon Ball, being unable to, and Bluma face the consequences of her mode of being that she's been enacting in the past few episodes.
I would say not just the consequences, but maybe the reality that she hasn't had to confront as well, just as a baseline to gain the wisdom that she's trying to act as if she has.
Right, and so she fails in more ways than one, failing to notice the threat at hand, failing to realize the danger she's putting herself in by using her sexual her sexual wiles in the way that she does. So we start off to also seeing the two soldiers who would be predators of Bluma. They have wrecked. Goku had obviously destroyed their ships, but it seems like they might still be alive.
I think in that scene it doesn't confirm, it just kind of shows the wreckage and they're like, we're not getting a response.
Well, we do see, they go out on stretchers, right? Like, at least they're not, like, obliterated or anything.
They're not just burnt corpses.
Which, they could very well be. So, Goku and Bluma get away, and they go towards Master Roshi. But Blue here, and as we've discussed earlier, that Blue is that more, instead of despotic, he's like an evolution of that. He's more fascistic, right? Force, he vows to stop Goku. He doesn't care who he has to sacrifice, right? He doesn't care if the soldiers who encountered him died. He wants to know where Goku is heading so that he can cut him off. Now, I think additionally to note, it is interesting to see Goku turn around and lose the force of will. And that's to say he understands that this chaos he's entering is too deep for him to encounter.
Yeah, I think that's an element of the hero is sort of that innate wisdom because of their reverence for their ancestors of what their limits of sort of the amount of chaos they can take on at any one time, right? Have a bit more familiarity and respect for it.
Right, exactly. And so that's kind of where we start our episode here. And then we see that Goku arrives at Kame House. He sees Turtle cutting grass with two scythes, and he enters and asks for Roshi. And Roshi, of course, what is he doing but watching his workout videos with the scantily clad women workout videos? He's watching like Baywatch, basically.
Essentially, just lots of bouncing boobs, slow motion.
And he laments the fact that Turtle is calling his attention to the needs of the hero, which is to say it's almost a meta-analysis saying like the ancestral spirit sometimes doesn't really want to help the hero, but in this instance he goes and does. Bulma is also there. She grows big to explain their situation. A couple things though I want to note here. So Goku calls Turtle something that he is not in the Japanese. He calls him a blockhead. It's a play on words instead of turtle. And Turtle corrects him and says, "My name is actually not that. It's actually Turtle."
It's funny. Blockhead is such a weird thing for Goku to call somebody, right? Where it's like, I guess Turtle being the unconscious, it's almost like the most empty-headed, right? Blockhead, or you could say, the voice of God, the Kame voice, right?
Sure, yeah,
Emptiness.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And so they make a deal with Roshi, and by they I mean Bulma. Bulma makes a deal with Roshi. She gives up her micro band in exchange for their submarine so they can go get the Dragon Ball. She even is embarrassed to say that she thought that Roshi would want to trade her something inappropriate in order to get the submarine.
Yeah, she blushes and then she gives it up. She's like, "Oh, that's easy. I'll just give that to you." And then only after she hands it over does he explain that he doesn't have the submarine there at the time and that
They're gonna
without
have to
it,
wait for it, yeah.
she can't go anywhere. Now
Hmm.
she can't ride the Nimbus.
Yeah, now she can't, so they have to wait. But I think it's beneficial for the journey as a whole. But so they get to Roshi's Island that away. Then we see what is happening across the land with Launch San and Krillin. They are shopping for produce. Meanwhile, Roshi and the gang are waiting on the island, and back at Red Ribbon headquarters, Red has deduced that since the Dragon Balls have stopped, that must be some kind of base that Goku is working from, which is, not a bad deduction.
Yeah, if you're thinking along the lines of an army commander and someone who can take out your troops, right? Or a general, or in any position, you think, oh, okay, this is a hostile force. So of course he would think that. But it's funny how that manifests his misunderstanding of the situation.
Hmm. And so he instructs Blue to go scout out the area, and Blue agrees, obviously. Meanwhile, Launch has sneezed and turned into Blanche, and she begins throwing vegetables at everyone. And well, there you go. That's pretty much speaks for itself.
She literally just like crams what looks like a giant radish
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
turnip into this guy's mouth and then makes him swallow it. Just kicks the crap out of everybody.
And yeah, so that's pretty much what happens here. I do want to mention the significance of Red's insight to Goku's movements and Blue's response. Like Blue is unlike White. I mean, what we saw with White was him often putting his feet up, drinking on the job, right? Like
Hmm.
relaxing, enjoying the boons of terrorizing the town. Blue doesn't have a town to terrorize. He doesn't even care for any of that, right? He is focused on the mission. He is more formidable because of that sight that he exhibits. And we've seen his eyes twinkle multiple times already before we even see his signature move, let's say.
Hmm. Yeah, his eyes are sort of his main characterizing feature. Somehow coming from a black and white manga, right? That
Hmm.
translates into being a big aspect of his character.
Right. And so then let's move on to I think this nope. This. So then Goku, while they're waiting, throws a bunch of seafood into, or let's say sea life, into a bucket. Turtle's catching it, and Turtle finds his son. Um, this is strictly filler, according to the internet. However, it is a little bit ironic that from the depths of chaos comes the offspring of Turtle, in the sense that Turtle is that voice of complete order and godliness, right? And merging with the chaotic sea, right? That would give birth to the the offspring. and so he finds his son.
It's also just played in a really funny way.
It is pretty
It's
funny, just
so
generally, yeah.
instantaneous. It's just like daddy, and he's like son, and then it cuts away really fast, almost like a
And that's
punchline
it.
of a
That's all
joke.
there is, right? Exactly.
Which I think it was played as a joke in
Hmm.
both translations, right?
Definitely. And so then Bulma goes in to use the bathroom. Uh,
And Roshi has seen the trap
the trap
triggered.
has been sprung. Exactly. He's going to shrink down, go into the bathroom, and be a pervert watching her pee. That's the plan.
That's the big plan.
And so we see how that manifests itself. Uh, it doesn't work very well. He shrinks down, goes to the bathroom, and by the time he gets there, it's too late.
He gets one small peek at her ass.
Well, even with panties on, like, right?
Hmm.
Like,
He climbs up on the toilet and then he curses God.
yes. And as he curses God, God decides to curse him and sends him down into this sewage system.
He says, "You're so mean, God," and immediately slips into the toilet.
Yes. And so he fails in his perverted mission and the whole reason why he got the micro band, right? Um, it's significant to say that Roshi's actions here and some of the perverted actions he takes going forward, I think this is kind of the last hurrah that we see of Roshi doing these very, very vulgar things. Going forward, I'm pretty sure we don't see as much of this happen.
I don't remember any major instances, but I'm sure something will come up that I've totally forgotten
After
about.
launch, after the next couple episodes and what we see with
Hmm.
launch. But
Obviously, this whole situation.
this whole situation with the microband. But that's in part because the microband is given to Roshi as something that Roshi shouldn't have. The spiritual father should not be able to reduce the magnitude of his spirit in order to, let's say, get around certain things. And it's kind of manifest here. And I think, Toriyama does a good job in punishing bad
Right,
behavior.
he's calling it filth, right? He's showing it as filth as something to flush down the toilet, right?
Exactly. Very, very, very much so. So he fails in his mission, and the next thing we see is the return of Krillin and Launch. And Krillin says, "It's nice to meet you again, Bloomer."
Calls her panties son,
Panty San.
which makes her extremely angry.
And we also hear a couple of things. So we hear not only about the Dragon Ball being down in the bottom of the ocean, but the pirate treasure being at the bottom of the ocean. And the pirate treasure is said to be accumulated after hundreds and hundreds of years. And I don't think they say it's on par with Dragon Balls, or is it Blue?
No, Blue. Whenever Blue realizes that that's what they're after down there, or that it is down there later on, he says that rivals the importance of the Dragon Ball. Um, but even to them, it's kind of surprising to see how enticed they are by that treasure because that doesn't actually necessarily seem like something that the heroes would typically be drawn towards, right?
Or even need, right? Exactly. And so it is interesting just to recognize though the symbolic nature of what we have witnessed, because the depths of the sea, the magnitude of the unknown is able to stop even the most heroic spirit. We saw Goku fail to get to the bottom of the ocean, right? And so now we see that the three of them, Bluma, not Roshi, Bluma, Krillin, and Goku, are going to try and take a submarine down there and explore the depths of the unknown. And I think it's no accident that General Blue, is the one that is the, let's say, sea campaign, because his color is that of the and it's a deep blue. It's that unknown, um, and reflective matter that is just like the sea. And that's what we see with how our heroes are going to engage with Blue, let's say, later on.
Right, and I mean, and the treasure ties into that because it's sort of that physical manifestation of the potentiality in the unknown. The In the unknown there is unknown potential as well, and the recognition of its limitless potential because of the nature of it being unknown, right? And so that ties them both inextricably to needing, not really needing, but having the compulsion to go towards that in their quest for the Dragon Ball, which is the wisdom in the unconscious,
Yeah,
deep there
and
underwater.
the method by which they get there is from the ancestral spirit, which allows them to block out all other unknown elements as they proceed down to where they're trying to get to, right?
Hmm.
It is a boon to the hero to see what they're after, and that boon is given here in the form of Roshi's mini sub.
Right, thinking of it kind of like a protective bubble for them, I think is effective because that's what it is. It's almost like a garment for them to be able to travel along the chaotic, right? Something that's not something they're foreign to, or that rejects them, right?
Or let's say overwhelms them.
Sure.
Right. And so they decide all to take off, and they're going to go towards the Dragon Ball.
Well, I like that Krillin asks Roshi in the scene as well. He says, "Is it all right if I join them?" And Roshi's like, "I mean, yeah, yeah, dog.
Sure, man,
That
do
w-
whatever you
that
want.
was always allowed."
Right, exactly. And so General Blue's scout finds Roshi's island, and General Blue divides his force into two so that some of his soldiers can go to Roshi's island and capture the Dragon Balls, while the other ones go and intercept our heroes as they're searching for the pirate treasure.
I
This is a pretty concise episode. There's not too much to say as we're setting up a lot of things that are going to
Yeah,
pay off well in the future.
I like that it's first mentioned here that Blue thinks that he's the professor that built the radar. Um, I think it's telling that his interpretation of them being there is that Roshi would just be this scientific force, right? Rather than
Well,
what he really
we
is.
have to understand Blue's character, right? Blue highly regards hierarchy so
Hmm.
much that beauty is above all things, and everything that's not beautiful, everything that's imperfect or doesn't, let's say, have the spirit of beauty is worth executing. That's kind of what we see in his first scene as a commander, right? Which is more ruthless than White. White, his parameters were um just thuggery, right? All you had to do to serve White was be a thug, but you actually have to perform to a certain level of quality for Blue.
Right. Well, I think that also speaks to why Blue is coming towards a confrontation with Roshi, whereas other manifestations of malice have not come to confront Roshi in the
None
past,
other
right?
have, exactly. It's the first one that really encounters him.
Hmm.
And so he divides his force while our heroes go under the sea, or actually, they begin to go towards the
Over the
position of the
sea,
Dragon Ball over the sea.
towards under the sea.
And it is going to pay off very well. I think we have a very exciting couple episodes ahead. But this was Dragon Ball episode 47, Roshi's or Kame House Found. Anything you want to add, Brock, in closing?
No, I think this episode was just a lot of setting the stage for the actual conflict that's going to happen over the next few episodes.
Yes. And so I'm your host on the left, Owl.
I'm your host on the right, Brock.
Please subscribe, give us a like, crungle, and grumble to bungle.
Thank you.
Kakarov's success was like a demon in my head. How could he be a Super Saiyan when I, the Prince of all Saiyans, could not? violent electrical storm erupted in the skies of the planet I was on. I welcomed